Jewish friends, and it was one Muslim guy. But I was in New York, and the way our house was in Queens, I had a basement. I lived in the basement. My parents were upstairs, so my room was the downstairs, and it had its own exit. So I got really good at sneaking out when there was a party and covering my, the old school, covering your body shape with pillows and putting a blanket over it, leaving the fan on, etc. And I did that, and I went to a party, and I was out till 2, 3 in the morning, and I snuck back in. I've been caught before. I've been caught, got beat too, but not badly, but Pakistani beating, standard. It's good for your sinuses. But this time I got away with it completely. And I got back in, and I was so happy that I escaped, the authorities, my parents. I fell asleep, and when I fell asleep, I saw this dream. It was me lying in my grave very distinctly. And there was, if you've seen like those pools or those tubs that have the water gushing out from the sides, it was like faucets opened on the side of the grave and fire was pouring out like water pours out. The grave is open. So I could see above, and there's a voice from above that says, "This is because you don't pray." I remember my face was completely wet in tears. Like I was crying in my dream. I woke up already crying. And then I made whatever I remembered of wudu, and I started making salah. And I kind of remembered there are 5 prayers. I didn't quite remember how many each rak'ah.
Because you haven't been praying?
I had been praying for a long time. I've been praying for maybe 4 years since we came, basically. Jumu'ah, the only prayer I could have got caught was Jumu'ah, but Jumu'ah was during school time. So I didn't get that either. And then the only time we did go to prayers if it was a holiday or it was Eid and my parents took me, my dad took me. Yeah. Other than that, I didn't see the inside of a masjid. I didn't expect that dream. I didn't expect it to feel that way. But all of a sudden, I just started praying, and then I remember being in sajda in one of the prayers and just crying. And then I fell asleep like that, and I woke up like that. And I stopped hanging out with all those guys. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Why are you being like this? Why are you being weird? I just avoided everybody. I just went straight home. I just kept going straight home. And then when the semester ended, I remember that because I still had a job at a Spanish neighborhood in the Spanish Junction Boulevard. So while I was at my job, this job was crazy. This was a Puerto Rican neighborhood. Every weekend it's flooded with teenagers, and there's salsa and merengue and loud club music, and everybody's dancing. It's crazy. It's the craziest part of Queens. And I was working at a clothing store. They specialized in like basically what we used to call it thug wear. Back in the day in the 90s, we wore like super baggy jeans and like Karl Kani boots, and that's what they sold. And I would work at that store, and then it would be salah time. I'd run down to the shoe area where the shoe warehouse and go make salah quickly and come back, join again. Asr time, go back. Come back, go back, come back. I started being regular in my prayer. And my coworkers, they were all like Hispanics, because they didn't call me Norman, they called me Ali. Like, yo, Ali, what you doing, man? Why you being weird like that? Yo, why aren't you looking at me? But I had to explain, I'm praying. Oh, man, yo, you talking to God? Yo, can you tell him to get me a promotion? I got a raise. So they had, then they started asking me questions about it. I didn't know anything about Islam. But my friends, my Dominican, Puerto Rican, Cuban friends in the neighborhood, the coworkers, they're like, so like, am I going to hell? It's like, I don't know. Yo, you can't eat pork, right? So I'm eating it right now. How you feel about that? I guess this is what they would do. So prayer became a part of my life, but I don't think that my Islam was anything more than that. It was just prayer. And it was maybe somewhat better company, or at least avoiding bad company. College started, and
as towards eternity, we need your support. We are a charity organization that aims to spread the message of Islam to the entire world in 10 languages. With your support, you can help people convert to Islam, give up harams, start praying, wear hijab, learn to read the Quran, and so on. And get your share from all these good deeds, inshallah. Donate to Towards Eternity, and don't miss this golden opportunity.
College started, and now for the first time I had Muslim friends, as opposed to basically non-Muslim friends. But the Muslim friends I had were the biggest party animals in the campus. It was a Muslim version of what I used to have, except with Muslims. Yeah. Now it felt less guilty because they're Muslims, and none of them prayed. But they didn't mind that I'm praying. But other than that, it was I went back to the same thing as before, just with prayer.
And one of them took you, I think, in Ramadan. There was this Dawra of the Quran, and then your love of the Quran started.
He introduced me to the Dawra, Omar, I'm going to call you out. That's his name. Omar Beg. Now people know your full name, bro. Okay, but I'm still in touch with him. Love him to death. Because he saw that I was really trying to learn Quran. I used to have a Yusuf Ali Quran translation with me all the time. I was reading it. I was finding it extremely difficult, but I was still reading it. I was still taking notes on it. I didn't have anything else. And he's like, you want to do Quran? There's a thing going on. And he wasn't even in that neighborhood. He said, go check that out. And he brought me there. It was in Flushing, in the Muslim Center in Flushing, Queens. So the program was, Dr. Abdul Sami was doing, so they had the masjid was 2 different floors. So one floor was 20 Taraweeh express train, like most places. The third floor was, okay, we're going to read 4 rak'ah. Then I'm going to explain ayah by ayah, translate, and briefly comment on what we just read. Then we're going to pray for, then I'll comment. Then we'll pray for, then I'll comment, and that's how we'll finish one juz. Then we'll do the next juz tomorrow and the next juz tomorrow. And this would go on from, I think it was about 9:30 p.m. until about 1 a.m. every day. And then the weekends he would just cover up. So it would be 2:30, 3 a.m. even sometimes, like all night. But we just take a break, 45-hour lecture, then 4 rak'ah. Hour lecture, 4 rak'ah. Hour lecture, 4 rak'ah. And I came in, I'm not going to listen to a lecture. I sat there and I'm like, this guy's not giving a lecture, he's reading. He's just reading the Quran. He just had the mushaf in front of him. So I just started listening to what he's saying. And one of his great skills was, like, if you've heard me give lectures, I'll go into an ayah, I'll go into a word, I'll go into a phrase. That's not what he was doing. He was reading the ayah, then he was translating the ayah. But when he was translating the ayah, he was not reading the translation, he was speaking the translation. So it sounded like speech. It didn't sound like reading. It sounded very natural. And the effect of that, if you listen to that for 10, 15, 20 minutes, it started feeling like I'm having a conversation with this person. But who's actually having the conversation? It's Allah. So it's like Dr. Sami disappeared and it was just me having a conversation with Allah. And that felt incredible to me. Like, I didn't think the Quran was that at all, because I was reading the translation in English and that's not what I felt at all. And